Insanity Pod, episode 8. We got Wags in the building.
Waguan, aka Little Munchkin, Little Pumpkin Patch.
Who's calling you little pumpkin patch, bro?
Yo, grandma, aka the Monkey Man, aka Waguana, aka my auntie's favorite nephew, aka Sweet Chili Relish Stain, aka Piss in the Sheets, aka little celibate, little incel. To be honest, sometimes I wake up, bro, and I just I just feel like no one likes me.
I just said Dan's grandma does, so how'd you meet him?
Nah, Dan's grandma loves me. It's a difference.
I told you not to bring up the grandma thing.
Bro, she's the one who brought it up, you know what I mean? Yeah, you get me. You get me. Yeah, nah. Digging her up was pretty easy, to be honest. She's the fucking excavator. The bro Josh has a cert, so he just came through, dug her
Is
up.
it at night or daytime?
Daytime, bro. You gotta see what you're doing. You don't want to accidentally just like crush the coffin, split her body in half. That would like make things a little bit easier though, but...
Do you do it right there?
Nah.
Take me back home.
Nah, I fucking respect, bro. Come on, G.
Fuck this, G.
There are other people buried, G. Come on. Yeah, so, AKA The Undertaker, AKA Take It Undies, AKA Grandpa Barry, AKA everybody's little brother, AKA a helicopter.
What do you want us to call you?
Yeah, which one?
Which one do you want us to call you?
You can just call me, I don't know, bro. Just don't, to be honest, don't call me, because I'm not gonna answer the phone.
You're just trying to call me before.
I was. It's because you're like, come to a podcast, and I'm like, well, I'm here, where are you? And you're not even here.
Yeah, but you want on set?
I was like, should I just go make a beat and like, fuck, like these guys, are they even worth my time, to be honest? And I went, nah, let me just go make a beat.
And you're still here, so...
And I made a beat. Yeah, I'm still here because, to be honest with you, bro, I realized something today. Insanity is the future, bro. So I went, look, let me just go and be a part of the future, to be honest.
Fuck, did we make yours after?
AKA Little Offended.
I started doing it after like episode 5 or 6.
I'm fucking Jason.
Well, this is my fucking year 12 PE teacher. That's you know Umaga from WWE. That's his nephew Cole, and then this is fucking Dan. That's Dan.
I'm main character.
He's main character. That's Dan the man. That's Dan the man over there. Yeah.
Shit.
That's him.
Yo, welcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're loving this, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, that guy who
What's
does
it feel like to be Waguan?
What does it feel like to be Waguan?
Yeah.
It feels like when you do something stupid and then get a round of applause. Like, you know when you fall, like you drop a plate at work or something? Have you ever worked hospo?
No,
You, like, you like work in hospo and you might be washing a dish and you smash it and then everyone just gives you a round of applause. Like, good job, you fucking idiot. That's what it feels like to be Waguan. It feels like when Simba got held off of the edge of the cliff by Mufasa at the start of Lion King.
Well, just like Michael Jackson had his baby, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like that. It feels like the first time Michael Jackson did the moonwalk. It feels like when a giraffe is born and just like literally drops like 10 meters to the ground and then just has to start walking. Except there's like African music in the background and then the African music quietens and David Attenborough goes, the humble giraffe. And you know, you watch the shows. Year 12 PE was really hard for me because of this guy, bro.
What did he do?
He's a real racist teacher, eh? He'd be like, run, Jumanji. I'd be like, bro, that's not my name. You thought I'd forget, bro? You think I'll forget all the things you said?
What are your other worst experiences from high school?
My other worst experience from high school?
I'm just assuming there's more.
There was the one time where
Come on, pick it up, bro.
I fought Samuelu and got my ass whooped. that wasn't nice.
What?
Samuela Tatafu. You can imagine what he looks like though. He fucked me up low key. Like a couple punches to the mouth, like, and then the fight got split apart, and I was like, "Yeah, you're lucky, G." And I went and cried.
How did that make you feel?
Mean. I got mad clout in the streets. They're like, "Oh, bro, you fought Samuela," and I was like, "Yeah."
And lost.
Yeah, nah. The losing part is like up to you, up to the interpretation of the interpreter.
Oh, no, I don't think
But I did
that.
lost.
It was pretty crazy when I've seen it, when you hit Buttergood's fist.
Yeah. It's a new move. Fucking Black Panther. Like I saw it on Black Panther, and I was like, yeah.
What's it called?
It's called the it's called it's called your mouth.
You're pretty slow to that. Do you reckon those punches impacted you in like a way?
I got
like,
CTE, bro. I got a Caucasian.
You got a Caucasian?
Yeah, I hit my head and I have a Caucasian.
Like in a cage?
No, a Caucasian. Like, you know when you bump your head and you get
Caucasian, yeah.
a Caucasian?
Of course we know.
A Caucasian?
Yeah.
Oh, you're being down over.
Yeah.
No, you guys are like, aren't you guys like concussion by ethnicity?
Oh yeah, I always get them mixed up. My bad.
Me too. Nah, yeah. So, what else happened in high school? I had a mean time in high school, bro. I was undefeated rap battle champion in my high school. Mad clout.
I don't believe that, to be honest.
Oh shit.
With the other rappers,
The fucking footage. They weren't rappers, bro. I wasn't rapping rappers. I was rapping against victims, cuz. In the hallways. They'd come up to me and be like, oh, this, and that. And I would just literally like come at...
so people would walk up to you and just challenge you at high school.
Nah. What would happen is people would like pick someone and feed them to me. They'd go, oh, they'd gas them up. They'd be like, oh, Ishan, yo, like, you should rap battle with Tino, bro. And then they'd be like, nah. And then they'd gas him up to the point where he reckons he could. And then, yeah, all they had was race jokes. They'll just come at race jokes. I'd come at their fucking spirit, bro. I'll be like, gee, you're like damned to hell after you die. That's why I'm so fly. And then they want to go, oh, shit.
What was your hardest bar from high school?
School rap battles. It was against...
We didn't ask who it was against. We asked the...
Hey, I'm painting the picture, bro. It was in the hallway upstairs in main block in the hallway. It was me versus someone. I faced Juan. I battled Juan, and then Juan just like gave up after one bar. And Anton Liotta got up. And said some shit about Africa. And then I said, these lyrical bullets will shoot right through you. The difference between me and you is I have a future. And then he fucking gave up. And that's 2 for 1 on one day, bro.
2 for 1.
2 for 1. Yeah, my lunchtimes were popping, bro. I used to eat whole cheesecakes during lunch and get sick as fuck, but I'd eat the whole... What else did I do, bro? I used to like... I was just the meanest, bro. High school, I peaked.
Okay.
Yeah, my life's been downhill ever since, not gonna lie.
Why do you think that?
Cause I don't do the haka regularly anymore.
Well, we could do it more if you want. Me and Cole do it all the time together.
You still remember your school hobby?
Nah.
You do it?
Nah. But then like, if everyone else starts doing it, like, something just happens to me, bro.
I feel like it comes back. It's like
It just comes back.
muscle memory.
It's like a spirit, you know?
You guys do Takeover?
Yeah, who would?
Nah, we didn't do that one. We never did that one. Anyway, yeah, high school was mean, bro. Lower Hut, SPC, 183. We had our own gang sign, and then we realized that it's just the Crip sign, and we probably shouldn't do it anymore. In the local newspaper, we were all pulling Crips. And we got in so much trouble, and we're like, it's our gang sign. They were like, that's straight Crippin', bro. Like, you can't do that.
What colour were your uniform?
Blue?
Yeah. Hey, there you go.
So was high school the first time you got into a gang and started rapping?
Yeah, did you cripple too back then?
Nah, I did have a bit of a limp, not gonna lie. I play football, you always get tackled in the ankles halfway through the season, walk with a bit of a limp.
Not that good, eh?
I was mean, bro. People would just be jealous, because like, it's one thing to get nutmegged by someone, you know, it happens in football, but then to get nutmegged and then laughed at there and there, yeah, that people would actually punch me in the face. I'd nutmeg them, I'd laugh
What's a
at them.
nutmeg?
When you put it through someone's legs. and I'd laugh at them, and then I'd look at their mum on the sideline and be like, "Tell your boy to close his legs." Yeah, open yours. Yeah.
So you're in a gang and you're a rapper. What's it like fading into the stereotypes?
Feels good. Feels great. Wake up in the morning and I'm actually the opposite of a gang. I'm not gonna lie. I grew up in church, bro. I'm Zimbabwean. I'm not African American, bro. I'm really like not gangster at all. I'm quite the opposite. I grew up in church doing like sound and lighting, and I was in the church band. I was a drummer. I sang once at the special Christmas service. You're laughing at Jesus? You're laughing at Jesus, motherfucker?
I'm not laughing at Jesus, I'm laughing
at Jesus, G?
Yeah, I was trying to picture that.
Yeah, I was trying to picture
What?
you
How can you not play this?
You don't look that cover, you know.
Hey!
I saw you in PE classes, bro. I know what you're like.
Yeah, why are you looking at little boys during PE, bro?
What else am I meant to look at?
Your little fucking
I don't think your lips like that. I don't think your lips like that thinking about it.
You look at your little sketch pad. What are those things?
Sketchpad.
Those things those PE teachers have?
Like a
Clipboard.
Clipboard. Little clipboard boy. little clipboard boy.
What else can you tell us about Jason from high school?
Yeah.
Jason from high school. When we were all showing each other's dicks.
A teacher was showing you this.
He had the littlest, he had a real little dick, but real big balls. It was real baffling, eh? Real big balls, but tiny dick.
You know what they say,
Big balls, get some more, I suppose. How come you guys aren't even gonna ask me about music? What are we fucking here for, bro?
No, I did. I said, did you start music in high school?
Nah, do you know the fucking music teacher wouldn't even let me into the talent quest? Yeah,
He probably heard you playing drums.
Kiss my ass, Miss Horner. I'm literally like on one right now, and you are probably still trying to remix the school song.
And this Horner's still playing the marimba.
Bro, Miss Horner literally, she shows up to our school, right? And try to change our school song into a reggae, like, and everyone was just like not singing it, and she was like, "Why aren't you singing it?" It was like, "We are called to follow bird," and she came and tried to make it like reggae. She's like, "Doom, doom, 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 doom."
Was she even reggae? Like, was she...
Nah, she was this white lady, bro. Anyway, I go to audition for the school talent quiz, G, in year 12, and I go to try to do the school talent quiz, and I rap B.O.B. No, I rapped, I think it was Magic. Like, I got the, no, it was Chitty Bang.
Chitty Bang, yeah.
Yo, I once was a kid, I had a kid, yeah, remember you was a kid? Reminisce days of the innocence. I fucking word for word, bar for bar, cadence, everything. She goes, "Nah, I don't think you're ready." I couldn't do a talent quiz. Next year, bitch ass, I MC the talent quiz. We had Patrick Gower, shout out Cor Corkins. Because Cor Corkins had a plug with Patrick Gower. So Patrick Gower was a guest judge at our talent quiz. And then
You're telling me like I wasn't there, bro.
And
Needs to be telling us. We don't know.
yeah, but you were fucking raging alcoholic, but you don't remember anything. You're too busy doing glue in the staff room. But so I like hosted it, I MC'd it, and I decided instead of telling anyone that I was gonna, basically like, she told me I couldn't perform in it. So then I was just MCing it and went, all right, our next person is me. And then I take off my shirt and my boy comes on stage and I'm in a wife beater and I do this rap song and everyone rushed to the fucking crowd. And I wrote a song about all the bitch ass teachers there, bro. It was crazy. Yeah, but my teachers weren't like bitch asses. They were bitch ass teachers though. But they weren't bitch ass people. They were good people. They were really good folks. But I wasn't really there to learn anything, to be honest, so. Always had beef, but hey.
What was your favorite class?
Biology with Mr. Hickson. Shout out Brenton Hickson. I owe him so much money.
For real?
Yeah, we'd always, we'd go to like football tour. He was also the football coach. And we'd go on football tour every year and I'd never pay. And then I'd tell him, oh, I'll pay you back if you pay. And then like 4 years in a row he just pays and then I never paid him back.
This is own fault.
Nah, but he probably like, you know when those World Vision people approach you on the street, he probably has the most arrogant like...
He's probably got a magnet of you on his fridge.
He's like, been there, done that. Like, he's just like, oh, do you want to donate to us? He's like, I think I've donated enough.
Yeah.
One of those guys.
And then from there, when did you start making your own stuff?
I was at I was at UC in Christchurch, University of
engineering?
Christchurch.
Accounting?
I was trying to do financial engineering.
Wait, what?
It's basically an accounting degree, but like they made it look real nice.
Sounds nice.
Call it financial engineering so that you can say you're an engineer because all the people there are engineers. Yeah. All the engineers get the girls down in UC, bro. If you're not an engineer, bro, you're really... It's like being in Gryffindor, G, you know?
Nah, I don't really. I'm not a fan of Harry Potter, I swear.
You look like you are. You look like you're the type to fucking... You look like the type motherfucker to know all the spells, eh? Yeah! That's what you look like. If you put the sorting hat on this guy, the sorting hat wouldn't even put him in. It'd just be like, get him off of me.
Get him off me. The hat's on me, bro. Get me off.
Bro, English is my third language. How many languages do you speak?
One.
Exactly.
Oh, it depends. It's speak or space.
How does that go?
Oh, bro, that's fucking terrible. I don't even want to do it.
Oh, there it is. There you go. Bro, it's fucking terrible. Don't you want to do it? Yeah. Nah, Hawke's Bay people are mean. Shout out, like, all the Hawke's Bay folks I know.
Oh?
You're not a real Hawke's Bay.
No, I'm like half.
You're not. You're more of a palmy boy, to be
I
honest.
thought Hawke's Bay, like, Takeover was in Hawke's Bay.
What an idiot. Hawke's Bay is its own place, bro. Its own fucking ecosystem. Its own. It's like Atlantis, G. Advanced technologies, G. You wouldn't know anything about that.
Nah. Everything in Dannevirke was like... You think New Zealand's behind them, we're even more behind than that.
The city was named after you, so like...
Yeah. I did my thing, did my dash in there.
Middle name's Ian, oi. Middle name's Ian. Ian.
What's your middle name?
Tirivashe.
Titty.
Tirivashe.
Titty.
Tiri. Rr. Tirivashe. It means we are of God. So don't fucking play with me, bro. Anyway, so I like basically didn't even go to class, to be honest with you. I went to classes, but I wasn't feeling it. And then my boy Felix, shout out Felix, Lil Fee. Fee had a studio in his room and he's like, bro, I got like all this recording equipment. You wanna come have a play? And then I made a diss track to this like kid who like I didn't like at the time. I think I'd like him now, I guess, maybe.
What was the beef?
I'm not gonna name his names.
Names.
But we took him home after, on the first night he got real drunk when we were out like, you know, mingling with all the people at the different halls. He got real drunk and I took him home with my other friend.
Shit.
And we took him home and put him in, he forgot his keys to his own like thing, he was at my hall. So we let him crash on my couch and I wake up the next day and there's vomit all over my lounge and he just disappeared. And I had to message him a bunch of times to get him to fucking,
And he just swerved you.
and he swerved me, and then he's like, oh, I left my phone in there. I had his phone. I said, come clean up the thing, or you get your phone back. I him clean it up. He's like, where's my phone? I'm like, I don't know. Oh, true, no one knows. I threw his phone so far over the fence. To this day, he's probably wondering what happened to his phone. Your phone's like somewhere down there, chick. Don't play with me, bro.
Fuck, what kind of phone was it?
Don't play with me. Just some little Samsung ting.
Fuck yeah, you gotta toss it to Samsung.
Anyway, I record that, and then everyone was like running to me at the hall, being like, "Bro, we heard your song. That shit was fire." And I was just like, "I like this feeling." And then I made another song called "Excuse Me," I think it's called, and it goes, "Excuse me," the hot out auto tune. Is I give you 50 shades of brown. Like it's peanut butter, girl, you looking damn good. Like I'm undercover, you know, and then just like talking about girls, and then he went, excuse me. And low key, like people were like, that actually doesn't sound like horrible, bro. You should like. And then 4 months later, what actually happened was that made me leave. Is I walked in on everyone at the hall was having a Crips and Bloods themed party, and I wasn't invited. And I wish we walked into the hall. Shout out all the breathers who like I tried to hang out with, but they just drank too much and didn't really do shit. So I like literally walked into the main lounge. to say goodbye for like the break. I was about to go on like a 2-week break or whatever, and fly up to Welly, and then like I saw them all with Crips and Bloods and shit, and I was like, bro, you know you're gonna at least like invite me and shit, and they were just like, we don't know how you'd feel about it.
Were they in blackface? Crush it, black.
Nah, they weren't in blackface, but they were literally little Emily who was like this tall, little cute little Emily, like little housewife, likes to watch fucking The Voice, you know, I don't know what show I used to like to watch like Love Island or some shit. She used to watch these cute little shows, little housewife energy. She had a little bandana tied around her ankle. I was like, oh no, what'd they do to you, Emily? And she was like, they all looked like, imagine like you open a door and the music cuts off and everyone's just like, oh, the black guy's here. And I was like, yeah.
Jeez.
I was the only black guy there. Yeah, I know. I know, G. I know. Nah, I think a lot of...
Why did they do Bloods and Crips play though? I feel like this is young.
A lot of people at the hall were high-key... Yeah, they were high-key intimidated by me. I remember, like, every time we'd hang out in big groups, they'd always be like, oh, man, Tino, like, do you ever, like, shut up and shit? And because I'd just be cracking all the jokes. And all the goddamn would be like, Tino, you're so funny. And then, yeah.
Well, you don't shut up, that's probably why.
I don't shut up, bro. I open down. Anyway, I'm him. So, anyway, I don't like them anyway. So, basically, after 8 months and 2.5 girlfriends, I left.
How half?
Was it Emily? Was it the short?
You knew what it was. To the other two, thank you for replying to my apology messages 3 years later when I felt real guilty. Because I was dating one when I left, and I just left and disappeared.
Didn't say a thing.
Nothing.
What the fuck?
And you ghosted her? Or? She might have thought something happened to you.
And then 2 years later, I was like,
Send money so I can come back.
2 years later, I was like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. And she was like, it's okay. I thought you would like, something happened. And then my friend Sam, I was so proud of myself, bro. And I was like to my boys, I was like, bro, I literally like gave her a message, man. I feel so good. Like that was so nice. It was eating me up. And then they go, oh yeah, it's good that like she was there to make you feel good about yourself. And I was like, fuck. I was like, shit, that cut deep. Anyway, I left to Wellington and literally like got an Arrow flat.
Yo, so you moved into like Arrow, which was Holloway, the Garden. It's where I first saw you perform.
I live 3 doors down from the Garden. I wasn't at the Garden.
Well, when are we going to get into the homeless part, or has that not been yet?
I was homeless for like... How long was I homeless for? I was never homeless, actually. I just told people I was. I just told people I was.
To get what? Or like why?
Cause like I didn't want to go back to my parents' house. I'm like extremely privileged, bro. It sucks. It's like it does nothing for the rap game, G. I'm trying to get my fucking paper up and shit. I'm trying to get my credit up, my street credit up, bro. And my parents got me like a trust fund, bro. It's not gonna work. Anyway.
It's such a tough life.
So I lived that. Yeah, you don't know my
Feel the
struggle. You don't know me, bro. So like basically, I lived at Holloway Road, started making music at the Garden, started making music in general. Did my first show at Valhalla, got paid $20 and a drink. I used to wear nothing, but I can send you footage if you want to put the footage there. My sister recorded it. I used to wear no shoes and no shirt, and I looked like I was homeless. And then I never do that at Valhalla because it just makes your feet dirty.
Back and save feet.
Yeah, gee, zombie toes, fam. And then what?
Who was on the lineup for your first show?
Me. I can't remember.
Me.
And then I got booked by Jacob Stevenson for
Did Jacob flick you the 20?
No. For another show, he saw me perform. He's like, bro, you're pretty good, and put me on to one of his shows. And that's when I was like, oh yeah, we got something here. And then I did one at Betty's, and that's when I actually popped off in Wellington, low key. Because everyone was like, oh, bro, you did it at Betty's? And I was like, yeah. It was like me, Lil Tree, and Lil Raf Simmons.
Could have been like 2018.
Yeah.
It's ages ago.
Yeah. I haven't seen those guys since, but like, I hope to see you sometime around. We had some good conversations that night. Yeah, that Betty show changed my life. What happened was I didn't like the show poster, so I made my own show poster and posted it. So it looked like I was the headliner.
That's actually so smart, G.
It was an accident though. I didn't mean to be the headliner.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Who was headlining?
Lil Tree.
You had more buzz than you back then.
Bro, everyone had more buzz than me. Yeah. Everyone had more buzz than me, bro. To this day, I'm like literally I'm still in the genesis of my music career. Everyone has more buzz. But they don't have light year. You feel me?
Can you elaborate on that?
Like everyone has buzz, but like I'm light year. Like, you know?
I don't know if you're light yet.
I'm light year. Oh, that's racist. Fuck this guy, man. Yeah, so that's how I got into music, bro. And then from there, it just kept going. I literally, thanks to Felix. Felix literally started my music career. Shout out Felix. He now designs F1 cars and shit. He's an engineer.
No way.
Yeah, bro. He's a man. He's casually start someone's career. I hope to send him like a big old $1 million, send him like a Rolls Royce or some shit. And then he'll already have his own one, but I'll send him one and be like, bro, you remember?
Have you seen him since?
Yeah, I made music with him in Wellington, linked him. I remember when I saw his graduation picture, I almost cried. I was like, bro, you made it. Meanwhile, I'm like eating canned tuna in a fucking leaky flat. Like, why did I leave uni? It could have been me. Anyway.
How important was like the collectives like the Garden? Because that would have been some of your first performances and live crowds and live people.
That was important. I don't think anyone got enough credit for creating spaces where people could show their music and get better. Me and some of the Garden people would fucking make music until 5 a.m. and would just make music for the sake of making it. And I'd be on there trying to get on my production stuff, and they'd be like just like jamming guitars, and then it was always open for people. And I could tell that, like, you know, it costs people a lot to be so open and be so giving about their spaces and times. People like Jacob with Droning Silence as well, like he would really be putting on for trying to put like people in position to show their art. And yeah, I remember I was helped by some of the like Dusty World boys. Did you guys ever hear of Dusty World?
I don't know.
They were like a rap collective in Wellington, and I moved into the flat that they moved out of in Holloway. So I was kind of like already like kind of some people, musicians in Wellington, already kind of knowing them. And then shout out Scapegoat Mercy, or Hamish. He's the one that actually recorded me professionally and put my album out there. My first project got me on all these magazines and shit in 2019 on my birthday. Yeah. Now we are here. So those things are really important, bro. From the ground up, all these artists you hear of. You can even watch like videos of Travis Scott performing to like a fucking 50-person crowd. Now those people who put on 50-person crowd shows, it's really important.
Yeah.
It's really important. So people can start. I mean, you're not going to start on a big festival. You're going to start on a 10. I had literally like 4 people in the crowd, and 3 of them were crackheads. Shout out my first customer, bro. My fan base were all crackheads to begin with. Shout out. I don't know where y'all at. I hope you have teeth left. But I appreciate you guys, bro. Walk around town with my music in their ear on the cell phones. And just be like, oh, yo, and give me one of like 3 tooth smiles, and it's like, shout out crackheads, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out crackheads.
Shout out crackheads. You send them to the Olympics.
How much do you think the Wellington music scene has changed between, say, like 2018-19 to now, and what's changed about it?
It's gone from a bunch of kids running around to what's left of us who kept making music and kept stuck to it and stuff and tried and were focused on the right things. We're now kind of got a basis for taking off. Everyone's matured in all their craft. The event people who put on the events, the artists themselves, the producers, the venues, all have leveled up. And the ones that weren't gonna do it didn't do it. Like the ones who weren't focused on the right things, or the ones who weren't trying to level up like that and evolve have just ceased to exist. And then what's left is this like, you know, network and community of people who've known each other for like, what, fuck, 2018 was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's fuck. Think about that now.
So I've known people for 5+ years. Yeah, so that's what it's come to. And I think it's just hitting its point where it's just started. To be honest with you, this wave has just started. And I think we can make it like a bigger wave in terms of like getting some real giants coming out of Wellington. We already have had mad giants come out of Wellington, but then to solidify that, and then in like what 2-3 years time have a new wave of like youngins who were like just like we were, bad haircuts, no clothes, 5-person shows and stuff like that. I think we've done a good job of even creating something that wasn't even there as well.
Totally.
Because low-key didn't exist. Like this wave did not exist before 2018. Low-key, Wellington had its musicians and had its artists, but for Gen Z, Gen Z didn't have its like artists or shit like that. It was just straight up like, you know, like millennial people had.
In terms of like local.
In terms of local scene, yeah, Gen Z had nowhere to go, and now we have places to go.
Who were some of the ones you looked up to in Wellington?
In Wellington, in 2018 or like in general?
In general.
Well, obviously look up to Sempre a lot, because he's like a madman. He's actually like kind of crazy. Like he's like, the way he conducts himself is just something you want to model yourself after. He's just the chillest, realest person ever.
Yeah. He just leads by example.
Leads by example.
He doesn't have to say shit, and he never really doesn't say much either, really.
Gets shit done. And then my cousin Takeover, he was in Titanium, the boy band. So like I looked up to him a lot, but I never really talked to him about music because I was always scared to talk to him about it. And now we can talk about it. But like, and then who else from Wellington? I don't want to offend anyone by forgetting them. Reese Rich. I remember meeting him and being just amazed by him, bro. And it's funny that we could even be like homies, because I used to like literally be like, oh, like you're like actually the man, G. I don't think you'd ever be my friend. And everyone would be like, oh, you make music in Wellington, bro. You know Reese Rich? And I'd be like, nah, but like, everyone keeps mentioning him. And then he's someone I definitely looked up to, for sure. I looked up to Will McLean.
Will's dope. I
And
love
we
Will.
became friends, and it's crazy how that works, bro. 'Cause I'm sitting here like, you're amazing, and they're like, oh, bro, you got some talent too. And then we work together, hang out together. I'm meant to have another studio session with him just tomorrow, and definitely just like great. Look up to Rob after like meeting him properly. Rob the Bank. I didn't know him properly until maybe
We've been last year. I only met
That's
you
when I knew him properly.
Yeah, I only met you last year.
Before then, I had heard of him. Yeah, I've regretted it ever since, bro.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Knowing you has been a nightmare. Everyone that I'm peers with now I looked up to. And then, yeah, that's Wellington-wise. That's what I looked up to in Wellington when I was first starting off. And then last year, yeah, Rob, talking to Rob about music stuff has really helped my understanding of ways to do things, and definitely like
Like on the technical side, or is like operating like as a musician?
life, living a life while being a musician, and like definitely like the technical side in regards to not getting consumed by it. I'd get really consumed by like, you know, like I would never enjoy myself, bro. I'd always just be thinking about it.
What, thinking about like trying to be better?
Thinking about numbers, thinking about platforms, thinking about career things and what I'm doing wrong, what I need to be doing, and it would ruin everything. Just ruin like my life in regards to it. Had me real depressed for a long time, had me real like just caught up in it, like, and wondering what is it I'm doing and what am I even good at, because it seems like I'm good at rapping, good at making beats, good at making music, but I can't seem to crack this thing here. And then after a while I realized just the scope of what I'm doing, and like people like Rob, people like Sempre helped me to understand like it really is your journey. It has nothing to do with anything else other than like you waking up and being like, I'm gonna do this, this is my journey. Yesterday was this, now today is this. It has nothing to do with anyone else. everyone else is there to help you or to be ignored on their own journeys. Don't take anything personally. Don't take anything to heart in regards to the things you see. Just focus on your own thing. And then I've been so happy the last year, year and a half, like 2022, 2023 now. I've been a very happy person, just like enjoying myself, watching my Spotify listeners go from like 10K to 200 to 8K to 300.
It's a roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster, and just not thinking about it.
You really can't put your own value based on numbers like that fluctuate like completely randomly, to be honest with.
Especially when I'm being played on like radioactive all throughout the day and shit, and it's just like, oh, people are telling me I've heard your shit. Walked out the streets, I can't even walk through Courtney Place anymore, to be honest with you, unless you want to have like a social interaction, like kind of vibes where people like actually know who you are, they listen to your music, and it's just like you're not at that point where you're like essentially like superstar huge numbers yet, but you're fucking well on your way. And you just gotta like focus on your own thing and do your own thing. Know in your city and be like, enjoy the beauty in that and the beauty in what's going on, be present. And family time, friend time as well. There's a point where I really didn't even hang out with lots of my closest friends because I was just hung up on trying to get there and trying to make it. Most rappers pop off mid-20s. I'm not even there yet. I'm young, I'm only fucking 12.
You guys collab with like Just Beat a couple years ago. How was it like seeing like first or second generation African migrants coming over to New Zealand and like popping off like Razor, Jess of course, yourself?
That was wild. Got an email being like, you want to do Red Bull? Did it. Fucking crazy. That was cool. She's a really good person, really nice, thoughtful person, and it was real easy to be around her and like interact with her and stuff. And like Razor was the same. When I first met him, I opened for him, and he was just such like they were all like older sibling kind of vibes. They treat me like a youngin, and they're like, oh, you know, Tino's a little boy, and he's like, anytime you need anything, just let me know, kind of vibes. All of them, all the ones in the scene, just kind of treat me like a younger sibling, and they're all cool. And I think the wave's just started. Even with Jess, even with Razor, we've just started. Like no one's seen anything yet, bro. Especially in the context of like, we're in New Zealand where we have to low-key make, things, not join things. So everything you've seen has been made from scratch by these people, which is why you should be amazed by Jess's career. You should be amazed by Razor's career. Like, when I saw Razor on Color's show, I was like, how the hell did you do that from this point when there's no stream to jump into where everything just happens like in other places overseas? You really have to make your own stuff.
So I've never thought about it like that. That's so true.
Yeah, from scratch, baby.
Like, you do have to like kind of make it from scratch, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and especially as a migrant, unfortunately, we don't have like necessarily access to a lot of the Oceania, Pacifica audiences naturally by association. So like, you know, we can't just necessarily click with all of the Caucasian, all of the Māori, all of the Pacifica audiences here, because like it's easy to click with someone with where you're from, you know. So you see someone on stage, they're from your country, obviously the first thing you do is go, oh, yo, we never had that. We had to like kind of come into a point where we really had to like amaze people, I feel, for us to get any sort of like sway over like people listening to us at all. And I'm still getting there to a point, to a degree, but like having to find your niche and like do things is really like difficult in another country, especially when you can feel it sometimes that like this isn't your country and you have to like kind of make your way here and kind of create a little space for yourself without also like taking up someone else's space kind of vibe. Just kind of bring your own vibe. And like I also you know, used to get tricked into being sucked into niches that aren't mine. Like recently, if you listen to my music, it's pivoted a lot more to like an African sound, because I'm done with like trying to pretend I'm African American so that I'll appeal to people who are in New Zealand who listen to trap. Like I'm kind of over that, and I'm like, nah, come into my like universe here so that you can actually come to me and get something different and get something, as opposed to just get the same old from that you can get from anywhere else. And I think that's really important as an artist, any art, that you bring something to the table.
Just to like embrace your own story.
Embrace your own story. Otherwise, what's the point? And then what are you really telling people? Because music is there to be related to and to be like influenced by. And if you're like a cap artist who's talking about like, I don't know, things that don't exist.
You can see through that so easily.
You can see through it, as well as it doesn't help anyone. How are you supposed to like kind of help someone get through life if you're capping or you're not being 100% genuine to who you are? So I started rapping, going in and out of Zimbabwean, and just like sharing my culture, sharing my story, talking about real life events, just trying my best to be as honest and open as possible. And it's done wonders for me mentally and future-wise, looking forward to be like, what am I doing next? I know exactly what I'm doing, as opposed to being like, oh, you know, what kind of wave is going on right now, so that I can jump on that wave. It's like, now create my own one. And that's what you're about to get from all the Afro art, migrant artists in New Zealand.
I'm excited, bro, because you told me you went up to Auckland about a month ago. You guys were all cooking up there, and you showed me a little bit about what you're working on. So what can you tell us about that, or what your future sound?
So we went up to a writing camp for Pharaoh Swami, so Mez Muir's album, formerly known as Pharaoh Swami. Got all the Afro artists into like an Airbnb, and he got some other people who weren't African but like very good at what they do. Mikey Dam was there, Mike Snow was there, Keith Turner was like A&Ring the ting. Who else was there? I know INF Music popped in for a second, for a day. Never, the producer, popped in, Ricky. Nines Prod was there. It was like 1174 was there. We were all just like in an Airbnb going nuts. Podiso and Timmy the First popped in. Jess B came in on the first night and like did some ad-libs on this crazy track that we like laid down. And then...
How did you get yourself in that room, like with all those people?
Oh, shit. I didn't really get myself in the room so much as like, it was just, I was meant to be in that room.
No, but how did it come about? Like, they reached out to you?
Oh yeah,
That's what I mean.
Miz sent me a... Yeah, I'm thinking like universal placement.
No, like I reckon you are meant to be in the room. I'm just more wondering like how like it all linked up together, you know? Like,
Miz just sent me this document that said, I'm doing an album and I need you to come as a producer and songwriter and just come write songs, and I was just there.
you knew him beforehand?
Yeah, I knew him for a while. Like I said, like, I met him when I first popped off in 2020 just before doing Red Bull. On Instagram posting videos, and he saw my video because he got kicked out of LA because of lockdown, COVID. So he got flown back. Him and Icy got sent back to to New Zealand, and he saw my video and just video called me and was like, bro, you're talented as hell. And then since then he's just kind of been like a big bro.
It's so good to see like some of that, like people in New Zealand are reaching out to our artists. And, like,
Oh yeah, most definitely. There's not nearly enough. Yeah, there's not nearly enough, but like essentially, yeah, like I think in a way to battle that is to be unavoidable and undeniable. In that video, I was giving them bars, I was shirtless, and I had an axe in my hand. So it's kind of like you look at it and you're just like, who is that dude? And I focus on that more so than thinking about, oh man, how can I get into places or get opportunities or network with people. I just want to be loud and undeniable and unignorable, where it's like you have to kind of reach out, or not really have to reach out, but like you have to acknowledge that I'm doing something kind of vibe. And yeah, that whole thing is like kind of also part of the huge wave we're about to push of like really settling into our cultures and like pushing our diaspora sounds of us being over here as migrants, just to be like, look, we're here. There's a whole wave coming, bro. There's a tidal wave coming. You just wait. Like myself, Jess, Mez, Timmy, Juju Lips is about to do some crazy shit. I don't want to like forget anyone, but obviously like Razor, everyone you can think of who's African in New Zealand and makes music is about to do something crazy. It's just been like, you know, as time goes on, we've been focused on the ones who've been focused on the right things and improving in ways that you just have to improve regardless of who you reckon you are or how far you reckon you've come. It's easy for me to improve because I'm a newcomer, But for other people, you'd be surprised how they still like are in the weight room, just like putting pen to paper and putting work in.
I feel like you should never stop learning.
You should never, yeah, for sure. For sure. It can be a trap for people who've like established themselves to be like, let me just chill here. Yeah. But most of them are out here hustling.
How important is it, and like how fulfilling it is to like have that kind of sound of Afro and Zimbabwean beats in there, not just for you, but for like, I know you had your cousins in the studio, like, how cool is it to show them that we can do this and we can make it us, we don't have to, do anything else or be anyone else? Yeah,
shout out Daryl, Trezor, and Delane. You gotta have, it's important it corrected my soul throughout the journey. Because I felt like as I was making more and more music, and also having to kind of, I felt like I was having to compromise too much on the things I wanted. In my life, I've always wanted to pivot towards my own country, my own culture, but it was hard to incorporate that at all. I couldn't have it hurts when you can't play your music in your own house. And you're like, my mom's like, oh, not it. When your mom looks at you, Jen, she's like, that's not it. Yeah, your mom says you missed, and it's like, damn.
Was that because of like lyrical content that you were putting in?
As well, because the lyrics at the end of the day didn't mean shit. Blang is the only big song that I'd say I made that like actually has some sauce in it that resonates with people, and my mom likes it. Yeah. But like otherwise, even beat wise and stuff like that, I felt like my music wasn't necessarily a reflection of me. It was a reflection of what I could be, a reflection of what I want to be, having seen things, like being like, oh, I like Travis Scott. This is what I'd sound like if I was him.
Kind of vibe. You like perfected your sound.
Yeah, now I'm listening to a lot more music that comes from where I come from, and I'm like more comfortable with my own sound in the sense of like, I also have been like, the last records I've been making, my last 2 singles, producing it myself from scratch, and like coming in with like an Afro sound that like feels good to me, and then having my mom like be like, yeah, that's the one. I'm like, damn, all right, like that's it. Even like my little cousins being allowed to listen to my music, that was a big thing for me. No, deadass, nah.
Why not?
Because had swearing in it, and it was about nothing, and like it was just like not that swearing is bad, like I've sworn like a million times on this podcast, but I just mean like in the context of like it wasn't me, because I'm like a real family oriented person, in the context of like I'm a real homebody, Zimbabwean kid, poster child, Shona, like child of the year kind of vibes, in regards to like, if I were to tell you who are you, I wouldn't say I'm a gangster rapper or a hard out trap artist. I'd say I'm like a Zimbabwean migrant living in New Zealand. And that's what my sound now sounds like, and I'm really happy with that. And then now I can actually expand on it and improve it and take elements where I'm based. It's so cool. Like the stuff I'm releasing this year, I am so excited about, just because it's like, now I get to like
show the most authentic version of yourself.
Yeah, and when and what's cool is it sounds better. Like the beats I've played you guys while I've been here at like Windy for the last week, where it's like, oh, that sounds like a Waguan like kind of track.
Yeah, totally.
Like, knowing that it's better in regards to live, it's gonna sound crazier. I'm actually gonna be able to get into it the way that I want to get into it, as opposed to performing. I'll just be like actually enjoying and vibing thoroughly and presenting myself to people, and it makes it easier to connect with people as well on stage, where like I've just spent the last 3 minutes rapping about kind of nothing, and you were into it because it sounds good, but then afterwards I'm like, all right, next song, as opposed to being like actually having some conversations with people and actually like trying to, when you see how people feel, when you're on stage and you see how people feel about your performance, even if it's good, it's like sometimes I would always find myself wishing that I was giving them something more authentic, because I know that it would impact them more and they'd feel more, as opposed to just feeling enjoyment. They'd feel like, man, I really heard the story. Like the last 2 tracks, I've been rapping a lot about like some losses in my life, and like my journey as like just myself, and my story is like the same as so many other people's stories. Coming into New Zealand, figuring out Kiwi culture, losing your own, finding your own, making your way back, having to awkwardly kind of reorient yourself in a way, and then having to blend them together, because I can't deny that I grew up in Lower Hutt. I can't let it go. Bro, you know, I still think doing burnouts in garages is completely appropriate.
Yeah, so I feel that. Yeah, growing up in Hawke's Bay, it's like a part of it all too. Like,
Yeah.
Doing that and calling beer bongs like wahs.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
calling it a wah, like no one called it a wah.
Danny Victor.
Yeah, bro, I used to go to the I used to go to the drags, bro.
Hey, you're one of those guys.
Bro, I'm so thoroughly Lower Hutt that it's like actually embarrassing, bro.
Yeah, I see that now.
Petone Football Club, you just go to the drags.
Yeah.
Parrot Bar, Station Village vibes, bro. Like,
I know you got to take us here sometime. And
I don't go back there, bro.
hey, you switched up, bro. You switched up.
Do you think the reason why you weren't like showing off like more of your culture or like doing that is because you were afraid to show who you actually were through your lyrics, or?
Yeah, I think I was more people pleasing in the sense of like, I was looking at it from a business standpoint in the sense of like, you don't I wanted to give people what they wanted to hear so that they would listen. As opposed to making what I want to make so that I can make what I want to make, and then people who want to listen to it will listen to it. Like, go walk down to a restaurant and go tell them to change their menu. They probably won't. They'll be like, nah, this is what we make, bro. This is Asian fusion, bro. We're not going to make you pizza. Sorry. And I respect that. And I respect that about a lot of people. Sound-wise, coming through with your own stuff and being like, this is what it is. And then my music was very inoffensive, so unless you're like my family or like old school African people or you're old, everyone would be like, that's cool, that's hard, that's a nice sound. However, it could never go deeper than that. No one was like, bro, your song changed my life. And I'm used to listening to music that changes my life. I've been listening to music deeply, and my favorite songs are the ones where people say my thoughts for me and I can just listen. And definitely, you know, and I also didn't know myself, bro. Like, it took a while to actually figure out who I was and not be like scared of that, like in the context of like, especially the effect you may have on people, as well as like understanding that I want to kind of be this who I am, as opposed to being like, I wish I was more Zimbabwean, or I wish I was more Kiwi. Just being like, you are what you are, you're this combination of both. Israel Adesanya is like literally changed my life. Like him coming out the woodworks and literally just being the champion and being like someone who takes both sides of his culture and doesn't deny it, being like, yeah, bro, like I'm in the bushes of Rotorua, but also on the streets of Nigeria, it doesn't matter, like I'm just who I am, and you just have to like kiss my ass. Yeah. And I was like, yo, that's what I want to be. I want to be comfortable, as opposed to always being like, oh, what is it? What am I? And then switching on both sides of my culture coin based on how how I'm making other people feel. You know, just being like, oh, you know, this person seems like a bit more on the Kiwi side. Let me just not acknowledge that I'm African around this person, because it might make them feel some type of way. I don't know what the hell I was scared of, but just not feeling comfortable and proud like that.
What was the switch that helped you accept who you are?
My dad died. And for me, that was like, he was like my connection to Zimbabwe, because he was the most thoroughly Zimbabwean person on the planet. And I kind of let him do the Zimbabweaning for me. It kind of let him do it for me in the sense of like, everyone, our family has like mad clout in the Zimbabwean community because of him, and just being like a community leader, real based and just real like into his culture. And you know, when I think about, whenever I want to go back, it'll be with him, and then I'll like be able to be real oriented, and like he knows his way around from like the nicest places in Zimbabwe to like the worst places in Zimbabwe, where it's like he can go anywhere and he's good anywhere. He's like the Nipsey Hussle of Zimbabwe kind of vibes, where this man is truly like hood famous, as well as like is Hollywood famous. He can do what he wants kind of vibe. And he died, and when he died, I was like, I've lost. My mum is the same. But I was shook in the sense of being like, I went on this whole identity crisis, started 2021, just full on, was just like, what does that make you? And in our culture, when your dad dies, the oldest son becomes like in charge of shit. And my brother was in Australia and couldn't get over. My older brother was in Australia and couldn't get over. So I was kind of stuck in that role, but then I was not in that role, and it was the worst time of my life, where my family's like, oh, we gotta make this decision. We wish Tawanga was here. And then like, I'd be sitting there like, cool, like sweet, like I'm not even like on, and then I'd get asked to do things that he was supposed to do. And then like, if I did them correctly, it wouldn't have any, like, no one would be like, good job. But then if I did it incorrectly, it was like, I wish Tawanga was here, man. Like he wouldn't have fucked that up kind of vibe. And then so that was an experience. There's a huge funeral stuff where everyone was there that was Zimbabwean in Wellington, and it was just like absolutely like overwhelming in regards to like what my identity was at that point of being like, you're meant to speak, you're meant to say words, you're meant to be a lot more masculine than people in New Zealand kind of the way I was raised. Being a Zimbabwean man and being a Kiwi man are kind of different things, to be honest with you. In the sense of like, it's similar, like men worldwide, we all face the same problems. We're far too quiet about things that matter. But in Zimbabwe, it's far less acceptable to like cry at your dad's funeral than it would be in New Zealand, which messed me up. Like, just like I want to cry, but I feel like I can't. And then when I do, I have to like run and hide myself and shit like that. So that was huge for me. And then having to be around everyone for a long time and like, basically take a break from music for a while and like having to like reorient who I was as a person for the sake of my family and for the sake of like going forward in life, being like, who actually are you, dude? Because your safety net of your dad being this person kind of has gone, in the sense of like, when I think of like when guests come to our house and they want to speak in Zimbabwean alone, they don't want to speak in English, and we have lots of traditions as to what we're supposed to do. He's just not going to be there to do it all. Now I have to do it. I can't just go to my room and be like, oh yeah, he'll just like do all the work and stuff like that. And then my positioning in my family became a lot, expectations kind of grew a lot. Meanwhile, I was like making music and like running around doing like kind of on the hustle of my career, as opposed to, at that time I was like at the peak of just trying to make music in Wellington, and like not necessarily like, I didn't have to think about like my family's expectations of me at all. It was, you know, everyone was okay, and now I'm like needed. And then, yeah, it was just a big change for me, bro. I just had to, I just made the choice to be like, look, I'm just gotta actually discover myself in order to come out of my shell again as someone who I think is representative of who I am. All those elements. Especially I had a lot of people telling me who I was at the time. So I had to bring those all together, and then also like then disregard and think of who actually am I, and then battle. Lots of internal like dialogues and battles, and then obviously like as a young person you get involved in lots of like dramas around in regards to friend groups and blah blah blah, and that all in the mix was just an absolute lot of like stuff to have to manage while trying to grieve and stuff like that.
Well, it sounds like you did like a really good job, in the sense like you grew from that, where some people would like not grow from that and they'd be still stuck in that pit. I hope you know that too. Like I hope you know that, like, you know, it is like you made the best out of that situation.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's funny because like you won't hear that from like a Zimbabwean community person, because we have a lot of expectation where they're just like, either you're gonna fold, like you're actually gonna die, or you're gonna keep pushing and keep going. Because like coming from a place like Zimbabwe, like imagine like you don't have the privilege to stop your life the way you can in New Zealand. You know, there's been times where I've spent like a week in bed. There's none of that in Zimbabwe, in the context of just like, you might get like, I don't know, the mosquitoes will suck you dry, bro. You can't just sit still. You gotta like get your ass up and like move, bro. Like do something, and you will starve. No one's gonna bring you any food. It's like, I mean, where we came from, there was no Uber Eats. So like you have to get up every day.
There's what? No
Uber Eats. So like there's no such thing as hiding in your house.
What else do you think New Zealand culture could learn from Zimbabwean culture?
Spices.
Obviously flavoring of food, obviously.
What's flavour?
Shit, I mean...
Salt and pepper?
Salt and pepper, I mean...
Got that on lock.
Garlic goes a long way. I'm just saying. I think New Zealand culture and Zimbabwean culture, they both can learn a lot from each other. But from a Zimbabwean standpoint, I think New Zealand culture can learn a lot more. This tall poppy shit that everyone talks about, I don't actually have an opinion on it anymore. I used to be like, oh, that sounds bad. That sounds like a bad thing to do. But then I understand that there's like people just like in New Zealand, there's a lot of subtlety with things, and people they don't like loud, crazy energy in any sort of way. It's like everything just has to meow a little bit. And I can respect it in the sense of being like, look, cool, that's just the way things are done here. But when it comes to the personal stuff that I'm hearing, personally, I've never felt like I've been tall poppied before, except for when someone else told me, like, oh, bro, that guy was doing this sort of energy or saying these things about you or doing these sorts of things, saying these things about your progress. And I never actually firsthand experienced it because I'm emotionally like, I'm so stupid, bro. You could actually be insulting me to my face and I wouldn't like actually like deep it. We've done this, bro. We've literally like to the point where like, imagine if you actually, yeah, this guy comes to me this day, he's like, you all good? You know how many times I've been asked, you all good? And I'm like, yeah. And bro, and you know, sometimes people like ask me, is that us? And I try to dap them up thinking, yo, that's us. Thinking it's like, yo, like, yeah. I'm very like that. But I think that when it comes to elevating other people and elevating other people regardless of even your feelings, I think that's something New Zealand needs to adopt. You might not like someone unless you have like an amazing reason. Let's say you don't like someone because, I don't know, like, I don't listen to this person's music, for example. I'm still gonna like gas them up on how good they've done. I can be objective to say, this is a good song. It might not have been a song that I liked, but this is a good song. You did a good job, keep going. And tell people, hey, you might like this guy. I personally don't listen to this, but like...
You can see why people would like it. Yeah, I get that.
So share it, talk about it. Yeah, and support people in the sense of like actually show them support and be like, good job, you've done a great job. The most support I get are from African people in the community, not so much the Kiwi people in the sense of like, they kind of, I feel like there's a lot of support comes from when I was like put on certain platforms where I then was kind of like introduced to people in a certain light or from a certain angle, so then it makes it easier and more comfortable for them to be like, oh, yo, good job, I like that stuff, that was mean, you did this and did that. Like everyone always talks about the same things. You could release 7 songs, but they'll talk about that one song that was a bit more relatable in a Kiwi aspect. But yeah, I think just that support and being happy for other people in the sense of like, I think New Zealand does a good job of it when it fits certain narratives of like, you know, like I remember in primary school being like, what the fuck is the hype behind Mahi Drysdale, bro? Why do people even care? He's a rower, the rower guy.
So true, like
he's a rower, like he's a rower for like New Zealand, and he won like a bronze at the Olympics one time.
It's the Olympics, bro. Are you serious?
No, I get that entirely. But that same energy needs to go towards rob the bank.
Yeah,
that
totally.
Same energy needs to go. I understand if you don't, like, as a New Zealand market, doesn't necessarily want to support me because I'm a foreigner. That's cool. I can understand that.
No, I feel like what's happening is they don't understand you. Like, people can see, like, oh yeah, like, people can be big in rowing or whatever, like, that's like a thing. But, like, I don't feel like people in New Zealand can see that, like, you can be big as a rapper or you can be big as an artist of any type or creative of any type. Like, I don't feel like people think that because there isn't many of that in New Zealand. Yeah,
I also think that they don't understand how to connect to it in a way that feels like it's going to feed back into everything.
It is hard.
It is hard.
I don't think anyone understands how hard it is to build something from the ground up with no like infrastructure. Say like for a rugby player or a rower, you go through like, you know, like club level, then you go into like regional level, then you go into academies, and there's like a whole structure. But for being like an artist like yourself, like it's just like
YouTube videos and
it's YouTube University, and then fucking you're on your own for the most part.
Eat the food you have at home as well. Like, when I say that, I mean like, try and listen. Like in Zimbabwe, they don't even like listen to Pop Smoke like that. We have our own version. We have our own guy. Sounds like Pop Smoke, so like this is our Pop Smoke. We don't listen to Pop. Like yeah, you know what I mean? Like actually, try and find within your own country so that you can have something to, like it feeds into the whole thing, man. It makes everything better. And I think more importantly than that, something New Zealand culture can learn from Zimbabwean culture is not letting people rot. Like we give up on people so easily in New Zealand, I found. Someone might literally like, I've watched people have like mental breakdowns on social media. And like no one's gonna reach out. You just watch people actually rot. Reach out to people and like do the ugly work of keeping people alive, man. I'm sick and tired of like hearing about other people's friends have killed themselves. My friends have killed themselves, and it's because we don't understand. You know, I see all these things online too, because it's the online shit that'll kill people, bro. There's one thing about people comparing themselves to social media things and being like, yo, I wish I was living that life, but I'm living this life. That's one thing on its own. But then there's also like, you know, you got these like Facebook groups that have like talking about people.
It's terrible, bro.
You've got
those
people
recent ones.
just talking about people. You've got
you've got people like making fun of people behind paywalls.
You've got like you should be careful when it comes to just like other people's feelings. I understand we're a bit of a hard country in the sense of, you know, New Zealand's a rugby country and we're like hella hard, but don't get it twisted, bro. The biggest guys will neck themselves because of something that was like someone said to them, or they're feeling like alone and lack of caring and stuff. Like, care more about people and their feelings, man. Like, and actually think about it. Like in the sense of, even if something you could say, oh, I could handle that, they should be able to handle it. You're not them, so like you should just be very careful when it comes to other people's feelings and what you kind of do with that. Like, be nice, be kind, openly kind too. Like, as opposed to being cool and nonchalant. Like, that's where this like kind of I don't know if it's tall poppy, I don't know if that's the right word in this context, but like hella like acting like you don't care and then caring being considered uncool. Whether it's caring about people or caring about your craft or caring about anything, being a fan of something. Like, let people enjoy things, let people enjoy their life, and don't be so hive-mindedly toxic about shit, man. And don't leave people behind, especially. Like, really think about it. Really think about like how you're affecting people and what actions you're taking and what that means to someone, so that we can kind of get better mentally. Everyone I know at our age, the mentally deranged Gen Z is hurting, bro. Like, we're in the pits in regards to no one's okay.
Yeah, well, I feel like people don't realize that, like, you don't know what's going through someone else's head when you say something to them. No matter what, even if you say a good thing or a bad thing, you don't know what's going on in there. Like mine, you don't know what just happened to them the other day. Yeah. Because you're already soaked up in your world, like you should be in a sense, but
yeah, you
shouldn't ever like randomly just do that to someone.
Yeah, you should definitely just take care with other people and be kind. And it doesn't, for me, it comes from just a place of experiencing both sides of the coin, where I'm watching people around me die, and then I'm also being made to feel like dying by my environment, in the sense of like, maybe no one's necessarily going, Tino, you should die, but it's just like the combination, the recipe. Sometimes you feel like you're left to rot, man, and it's like, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to pull myself out of this thing? And the amount of effort it took and it takes to pull yourself out of that headspace is so significant. That's why I'm so careful about it, and I'm such an advocate for like being there for people, in a sense of like having conversations with people and kind of gauging where they're at and seeing if they feel purposeful and fulfilled in like what they're doing, because as soon as you're not, it goes downhill from there mentally, man. And we're an isolated place where it's hard to go here and start fresh, or not think about this anymore and move on. Everywhere you go in New Zealand can start to feel the same, regardless. You might move to Palmy, move to Auckland, move to Christchurch. Christchurch is going to feel like Wellington. Wellington's going to feel like Auckland. Auckland's going to feel like Palmy. Palmy's going to feel like Whangarei.
Because everyone knows everyone too.
Everyone, yeah, as well as we all act the same. It's not like from America where you go from California and they act a certain way. You don't like it, so you move down south where people are more maybe polite and have a nice accent. That way you've done this whole culture switch. We don't have that privilege.
I feel like New Zealand doesn't really... There's not much of a culture when it comes to a lot of it. Like, we fucked it all up.
How so?
Like, we've just forgotten about the multiculture in a sense.
For sure.
And then every white person that is pretty much here has forgotten about their culture from wherever they were from because it's been too far.
True.
Like, I don't even know what my culture is. Like, I'm just a white person in New Zealand. That's all I know. Like,
true. We haven't.
It's okay, I'm like fine with it because like it could be a lot worse. But like I feel uncultured all the time.
Because you don't get to.
Yeah.
You don't get to. No one even asks. That's why when people ask me where I'm from, I don't usually ask people where they're from unless they ask me where I'm from. They're like, where are you from? I'm like, Zimbabwe, cool. And I'm like, where are you from? And they'll say, oh, Hawke's Bay. I'm like, where are you actually from though? Like, because your family didn't start in Hawke's Bay. And people would tell me, yeah, I'm Russian. I'm like, yo, yeah, I'm Finnish from Finland. I'm like, yo, what is that like? And then they so jarred because they're like, I haven't talked about this in 12 years since like my great grandma was around, kind of vibes. And I think New Zealand should do that a lot more in regards to like, it'd be so cool. Do you guys ever have an international like nationality day at school where you come dressed in your cultural stuff? Bro, that should be like it every day, and that should be like a melting pot where everyone's wearing their cultural styles and stuff like that, and it lets you be. It lets everyone kind of share stuff, and like it's important. Like a lot of the things that come from the sadness I feel is detachment from who you actually are, because you might think you're this person, but you're really not. Like you're also that, and that's what that missing thing was in my music. Zimbabwean like Shona culture, the language. That was missing, and I didn't know it until I did it and went, that was missing the whole time, especially from how I presented myself.
How do you see New Zealand culture moving forward and finding its own identity?
I think national pride, to be honest with you, damn, this could get me in trouble, but when the really old, rigid people just die, to be honest, I can't think of any other solution. All the comments left that are just super ignorant, when, you know, like all the comments on ignorant things where it's like, oh, this is rah, 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 rah. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not even going to quote anything, but it's just rah, 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 rah. We're not this, we're not that, we're not that. We do this is our blah, 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 blah. That's just like what's holding it back from moving forward, because everything New Zealand does should be something that's like, we embrace with pride and should be able to get around. We are literally one of the only countries that can actually gather around an individual or a person who's doing something and make them feel like the whole country is actually behind them, the whole country, not just your state in America, but your whole country is, and we need to do that more in the sense of being like,
we should treat more people like the All Blacks.
And add that to our culture of like, actually like, when I say treat more people, I'm not saying any and everyone, but we have so many people punching. I used to live down the road from my friend Honestly and her family, bro, the Watane family, bro. They are literally like Oceania Taekwondo, like top threes all the time. I'm definitely not here to tell anyone what to do. And I'm not here to tell New Zealand what it should be doing. It's just, in my humble opinion, what could make things cooler if these things went on. We're more gathering around people from New Zealand or from around the way. Personally, I think a lot of people in New Zealand are hella opinionated on what needs to go on or what needs to happen. But yeah, I think if we're going to define what New Zealand culture is, and I'm not here to do that, I'm not here to define it for everyone or try and say, oh, this is what needs to be done. But it would be cool if we could not be so negative and be more embracing about things. Half the comments on everything I see are just like talking about how it's wrong or right, or how trying to say what it is. That's the thing about certain countries too. We're like a melting pot country. We're in a position where we don't have the privilege of saying like everything's always been this one way since the beginning of time. Yeah, we're such a new country, and we punch, bro. We punch. You got my friends who kick ass in Taekwondo, top 3. We do Olympic stuff, world #1 in rugby all the time. We have artists who are eating the world, like literally like consuming the world. We have artists who are actually like the biggest artists in the world. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the solution it would be, but I think more so just to chill out about, like, I think it's an island mentality when we're almost on a deserted island, and we act like it sometimes, where we get a bit cannibalistic and incestuous, where we're just a bit like, oh, you know, can't do this, can't do that, because we're kind of restricted for space around here. And it's like, nah, man, there's plenty of space. You drive through the farmlands on your way between countries, there's lots of space, bro. There's lots of space for people, and lots of space for energy, lots of space for everyone can never turn on stage. And everyone, you know, just yeah. And then I think that also, the reason why I think we're held back on that truly being a country that's together. And mind you, my country has been in shambles. Zimbabwe has been like in really, like, the world beefs with Zimbabwe so many times just for some of the political decisions that were made and stuff like that. So I know what it's like to look at your country as if it's actually broken into pieces. New Zealand is not that. New Zealand is a country that really can be like this. Right now it's just like that. And it really can be like that. And I think that starts with the whole mental health energy of what we believe in and stuff. You ever seen the way Japanese people gas each other up, bro?
Nah, bro.
Bro, they gas each other up, bro. If we can get to that point, we'd feel more comfortable reaching out to one another and supporting one another, you know, when you don't think it might have a negative consequence on your own mental health to just even support this or try, you know, want to be a part of this movement or that movement. It's like, yeah. So if we want to define the identity, bro, it all comes from spirit first and how people feel. That's the #1 thing. All those countries that we talk about when we say, oh, that country just seems so happy, it's just, or it seems like they have such a sense of national identity. None of them are sad in that national identity. They're all like happy to be a part of that and feel like it's taking care of them. To participate in the culture takes care of them. That's the #1 thing. You can't have a culture that just takes from you, or a culture that takes from you and ignores you. You know, like, that's the thing about, as artists, you got to be a lot more caring about, bro, someone messages you saying, bro, I streamed your music 100,000 times. Let them know how you feel, talk to them, make it a two-way connection. Don't just be one of those guys who's like, oh, yeah, shot, bro. And you've just taken that person's time and gone, sure, I deserve this, and you just walk away. Like, humble yourself enough to meet yourself in the middle, no matter whether you're an artist, athlete, creative, political person. Try and shake hands and come together and build more of a family-oriented thing where you feel like your culture cares about you, as opposed to like, oh, my culture is cool, but like, you know, I can't even get into that, you know, kind of vibe.
Do you feel like the New Zealand government could be doing more to uplift the arts community in general around the country? Like, we've got New Zealand on air, but I feel like the voice of culture is through performing arts and visual arts and music. So do you think that could help uplift the whole New Zealand culture?
Everything is, I forgive a lot of the things that people might disagree with, in the sense of people like, oh, you know, like, I hear a lot about like who gets what opportunities from what government thing and blah, blah, blah. I think New Zealand did a good job of having defined itself in the past. Those bands, those artists, those creatives that were pushed to the forefront, they were the biggest things, and they worked their asses off to get there, you know, just to, like, you take 660, for example, you see them everywhere. And they're gassed up by every platform. That was good. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. Now, a lot of people think, oh, when is it like Sempra's turn to get that gas up? We're in the middle of the transition, and it's not even a transition where 660 is no longer this and Sempra's this, but it's like, they're transitioning to like how to actually do it. Like, how are we actually gonna, you can't expect, like, for example, like let's say you can't, like the government wants to help with A, B, and C creative wise, and they've been doing it one way for this whole time, and now it's time to change that up. Like any organization, especially in governments, things take time to change, and I feel like things are changing slowly, especially in the context of all of the managers, platforms like yourself, this one, are maturing to a point where they get the new generation of creative industry people are now at that point where they can now inform the government and inform those bigger platforms and stuff as to how we can now make that transition to where New Zealand isn't just a country that's known for its guitar music and its beached out vibes, which it is, and it still will be. Cause like, I don't know about you, bro, but I listen to 660 on the beach. I don't listen to Semper on the beach. However, when I'm sifty, 3 a.m. driving from the studio, bro,
Sifty.
I'm not listening to 660. What does that actually mean?
Sifty's like creepy, isn't it?
Oh, my bad. No, wait, no. No, wait, cause I meant like when I'm like
Swerving?
not swerving, I drive nice.
Do you mean like getting like swifty?
Yeah, getting swifty. Nah, I thought sifty was more like, like, I don't know, when I'm driving late at night and I want to feel cool. When I want to feel like a supervillain at night and I'm driving at 3 a.m. from the studio, I've just made cool ass songs. I feel gassed up. 3 a.m. I'm not listening to 660. Steezy.
Yeah,
Steezy, yeah. I'm not listening to 660. I'm listening to Sempra.
Yeah.
Then the next day it's summer. I'm at the beach. I'm not listening to Sempra. I'm listening to 660 again. Then it's, bro, I'm swerving. Mazda Demio, bro. All right, like I'm now listening to Sempra again. And I think that that's something New Zealand hasn't really, those platforms are now getting into the understanding of what can be consumed by a wide variety of people, especially as our generation, or Gen Z, we're coming through hungry for stuff. All our shows get like sold out. All our artists are getting like really like listened to in the context of like people are consuming it at a rate that hasn't been, back in the day, especially I was talking to Jess about her come up. When she was talking about how her come up, it was a real like I had to go here, do this, go here, do this, go here, do that, go here, go here, go here, go here. She had to do a lot of stuff. And because we didn't have TikTok, bro. And then now it's like you have TikTok. How is NZ on Air gonna keep up with what's going on TikTok? They need time to just like pivot, G. Yeah, so there's a transition happening, and there's also trying to figure out a way of getting everyone involved, like getting everyone on par. So like I was saying, the example of Sempra and 660, they both still deserve the resources to be resourced. We're trying not to de-resource one and put one on just because of the timing of stuff. It'll all happen. It'll happen, inevitably too, like, it'll happen. I have faith in the New Zealand arts, government, creative platforms that it'll happen one way or another. Or Insanity Studios will have a budget that's just as big as the New Zealand's creative budget because of the work you've put in. Not because they've given it to you, but because, you get sponsored by such and such and such, and now you're like making so much money that you can actually go fund artists and be like, yo, we can help you with this and that and that. Like, it'll happen, regardless of how it happens, it'll happen, bro. I believe.
I heard you got a show coming up.
Yeah, bro. I'll be at the Insanity Studio at Cuba Dupa. Me and Juju Lips might show you something cool. Maybe, if you're there, you get to see it. You have to be there. I'm not gonna like film it. And I got some releases coming out too. I got some songs that I've produced and rapped on, and it's kind of like my year for introducing myself after having, because all my last 2 songs, I don't know if you heard them, but they're quite emotional. Coming out of that and being like, all right, I've cried for a whole year. I've done a lot of soul-seeking and self-finding. Now what are we gonna do? Now we're gonna put hand drums and African bongos on 808s and go nuts and actually like come hard. Pause. I'm excited to be sharing it with people. Coming out of a lot of turmoil of family stuff and obviously losing people and just like mentally going through it, and then coming out of that with a new view on the world, new appreciation too. I also like had a pacemaker implanted, so like I've got a bloody Iron Man thing in my heart. I had some health stuff, so I'm like fully new. I'm a different person almost.
It really does feel like that. It really does feel like everything's just calming, and now you're just about to like break through.
Yeah, what did you do? What was that again?
Breakthrough.
I'm excited too, because I don't care, like in the context of like, for the first time ever, I'm not trying to market my personality so much as just share it. I'm not trying to market my music so much as actually just make it and share it and be musical and enjoy myself, and like, you know, hit me up. Let's collaborate, let's work, let's have a conversation. At Waguan on everything.
Thanks for coming on, bro.
You're welcome.
And also, on behalf of Cheeky, we've got a box for yourself.
Oh wow, what flavor is it?
Raspberry.
Raspberry iced tea.
Yep.
Thank you, Cheeky. Thank you, Insanity. Thanks, Mom, for letting me have your jacket. Yeah, life's good. 2023, make it yours. Do your thing.
You didn't want to thank me for all the PE lessons?
Nah, you have nothing to thank you for, to be honest, bro. Like, negative things to thank you for. In fact, I have some paperwork that's coming your way.